once again to Crazy Comics and Stories. It's me, your charming and delightful old Uncle Rat Bastard. And at the other end of this series of tubes and wires we call the internet is Joe, Crazy Writer. How you doing today, Joe?
Okay, I'm ready. When are we going to start recording?
Now, I think.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
You're right. I'm never sorry.
You plan this stuff all the time.
And you say I never plan anything for this here podcast.
You realize when people see me at the convention, out and about, they're going to go, gee, Cory, you've lost weight, but your hair's really much more gray. What happened? I'm just going to point at you.
Somebody's watching me. Okay, now stick with me, okay? Now, Yoda.
Lord knows I have for 204 episodes.
Yoda is a well-known figure in the Senate chamber, right? We're talking, in Star Wars.
Yes.
The E.T.
Well, I thought you meant in the U.S. I was wondering when he was going to run for president.
We'd be a lot better if he was. Okay. The E.T. creatures exist in Star Wars and can be seen in the Senate chamber. Okay. So it's reasonable to assume that they know Yoda or they know of him. Okay.
Okay.
So when the E.T. creatures come to Earth, one of them meets a young boy. And it's weird because the young boy plays with Star Wars figures, which, weird. But when E.T.'s out on the street dressed as, he meets a kid dressed as Yoda as Halloween and recognizes him. Okay? And it's reasonable to assume that E.T. can make bikes and toys fly by using the Force, which means E.T. is an effing Jedi. Huh? Right? Do I got something here?
I think I leave you alone way too long.
That's true. You will never watch E.T. again.
Probably not.
Well, yeah, I'm never planning to watch it anyways.
Yeah, I watched it once. That was okay.
Yeah, that was fine.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater. It's not, there are some movies that I don't own copies of, even though I like them, because it's not like I'm ever going to watch them more than once.
I think I watched it just because, or actually own a copy because at the time, it was, when the DVD came out, it was a Sears exclusive. You had to buy the DVD at Sears. They had these big, massive E.T. dolls that you could buy. So,
don't you mean the VHS tape?
Maybe it was a VHS tape.
Because I do remember that because my mother bought all of us a copy of E.T. And she went out of her way to buy all of us a copy of E.T. for Christmas. And I didn't want to go out of my way to go, Mom, this isn't a movie you watch more than once.
It sucks.
No, it doesn't suck.
There's a lot of movies that I only want to watch once, which is why I don't think I buy a lot of DVDs in that. Unless I know it's something I'm going to watch over and over again. Like my beloved copy of Women's Prison Massacre.
Now, they put out a sequel to that?
It makes Women's Prison Massacre makes Scarface look like a Sunday school picnic. And I hate Sunday school picnics.
See, I'll buy a DVD if A, I'm going to watch a movie more than once. B, it's not going to be showing up on streaming or cable or whatever. Because let's be honest, Joe. No one is going to be running on their streaming service Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter.
This is a sequel to his the cult classic Caged Women. And it's made in Italy. Oh, Dana.
Well,
I have an Italian movie for you.
Italy made tons of exploitation movies. I've done a whole podcast about that. The third reason I will buy a DVD is if the commentary and special features are something that I really want.
Yeah.
Like Conan the Barbarian. They run that a lot. You can see that. But I had to own the commentary because the commentary is one of the greatest things in the history of film. Have you ever listened to the commentary on Conan the Barbarian?
I don't own a copy of it. Although if I find it cheap, during the Christmas season, it's one I might do.
The commentary is amazing. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger and the film's director, John Milius. Now, John Milius worked on movies like Apocalypse Now, and he's a very intellectual man. And when you listen to the commentary, he's talking, and then Arnold will kind of chime in. And the way I was sold on this, someone showed me a scene, and it's the scene where they're in the temple. And John Milius says, when we designed the temple, we wanted a mix from Egyptian and Mesopotamian and Sumerian archaeology styles because we wanted to be both alien and familiar. And then Schwarzenegger pipes in with, this is the part where I killed the giant snake.
I do got to admit the commentary for Bubba Hotep was real good because it was done actually by Elvis. So it was very entertaining.
Yes. And I don't know, have you seen the movie Tropic Thunder?
No.
You need to see the movie Tropic Thunder and then watch it with commentary because the Robert Downey Jr. character, who, I'm not going to spoil any of it for you, but one of the lines he says in the film, because he's a method actor, is, I don't break character until I'm done with the DVD commentary. You listen to the DVD commentary, he's still in character.
There is one DVD commentary I was a bit disappointed with. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was kind of disappointing because they got more into the fact that they were together in a room just having a good time and not really paying attention to what was going on in the movie. Even there's a few times Kevin Smith was like, guys, we really ought to pay attention. We're missing a lot of great stuff here, you know.
Now, is that the commentary where Jason Mewes kept nodding off and then he admitted later that he was whacked out on heroin and couldn't stay awake?
I don't remember because I listened to it once and I don't think I'll ever listen to it again.
Okay.
It would be interesting if you had Kevin Smith and Scott Moser together because Scott being, of course, the producer, he probably knows things.
Huh.
He says,
how funny.
Knowingly.
If they would get together, maybe they do a weekly podcast.
Oh, that would never last.
Yeah, I guess not. So you and I actually saw each other in person, live, and in color.
Even though it was dark and the lights were down, it was still pretty much in color.
Yeah, you kept the lights off. I don't know why that is. Do I really look that bad?
I just like watching, event TV like that.
Ah. And you also like Butch and I running into things. Yes, we went over to Joe's house for Summerfest. Oh, I'm sorry, SummerSlam.
SummerSlap?
The WrestleMania of the summer.
Yes.
Really didn't feel like the WrestleMania.
Nah, not really.
And there were things that I really liked, and boy, there were some match endings that really kind of stunk. But the fun thing about it was, I don't know if you were even listening to Butch and I, but Butch and I, we were having our own Mystery Science Theater 3000
I gotta
wrestling.
tell you, you guys were more entertaining than the guys on the match.
We talked Glacier.
Yep.
We talked Arachnaman. Very
much better. I'm telling you, the guys the announcing team for WWE's main events are just, I just don't like it. They talk about everything but the event. And I realize I missed this because when I watch old ECW where Joey Styles is actually reacting to what's going on in the ring, he'll shut up and let the action happen. Even back in the old AWA stuff where they just had Roger Trent doing his stuff. And, yeah, you're missing. I think listening to you was much better.
We had a lot of fun, and then, you ran us out afterward.
Yeah, unfortunately, the problem with the pay-per-views is that I've got 3 people in the house that have to get up and do stuff in the morning. Not me, because I'm off Mondays.
Butch and I went outside, and it's like, oh, yeah, I got to go. Oh, by the way, I want to talk to you. We were out on your lawn till a little after 11.
And I was thinking, part of me thought, you guys, let's go hit a Perkins or something and just keep talking. But you had also said you had to get going because you wanted to get up and go to work.
Yeah, but, you get around Butch.
Oh, but, our old buddy Nick, he was that way. Just sit back and conversate. I remember once we were talking, we'd closed the shop. I think we had done our run to Angelo's and back, and, 11 o'clock at night, here comes Pat's dad. And I'm a good mile and a half from Pat's house. No, he's just out having a walk. He's got a cigar in his mouth. He didn't light it because, he had heart problems. Walked down one side. He must have gone to the end of the shopping mall, cross the street, walked the other way.
Now, we did get an email on SummerSlam, by the way.
Ooh, cool.
Michael Carter actually emailed us and said, man, can you believe it? Not once during the whole Neville Green Arrow versus Barrett Stardust tag team match did anybody ever mention the time Jerry Lawler took on Batman. That license to print money wasted. Joe, have you ever seen the Jerry Lawler Batman?
I have.
Oh, my God. Adam West was hammered.
That explains a lot.
And if I actually watched it today to refresh my memory, and he was wearing kind of a tracksuit because I guess he couldn't wear the Batman costume for the wrestling show. But he said that him and his friends, Clark Kent and Spidey Man, would be showing up.
My head hurts. Truly, truly it hurts.
Brave new warrior. Let's go. The future is the words of fury of the warrior.
Oh, wow. Did you just hear that, Joe?
What's that?
That sounded like the promo for Glacier. No, our world is about to change.
No, I don't
Joe?
think so.
Joe, why is our world about to
The
change?
whole problem is that our world has never stopped changing.
Well, there is
Although
that.
we did get Cory to admit in a fairly, well, how should we say? The crickets aren't dead, folks. They just went home.
You're breaking kayfabe.
I have
you know
to.
that?
I have to. I know people have been contacting me constantly via my own personal email because Cory never shares emails with me. So if you want to talk to me, just go crazycomics@gmail.com. And, people have been offering to replace them with guinea pigs, with Matagorian hissing cockroaches. And yes, Dana, they are cool, but they don't hiss that loud. Mice and mallets. But to find out that no, they're not dead, they just went back to whence they came from, I feel good. I do feel good.
Fine. If Joe's gonna break kayfabe,
Oh, you know it.
what happened was, I've talked about how one of our big influences and one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world,
The entire world we're talking.
Wrestle Crap Radio, has returned. The Artie and Blade show. See, they ended Wrestle Crap Radio because they said it was becoming too much work to come up with the ideas and script it out and everything. So they ended it. Then they came back with the Artie and Blade show, and the idea was that they would just get together and talk. Matter of fact, I think one of the early episodes, RD was on his way to the Mega Mart, to the grocery store, and Blade was in his car going somewhere, and they just called each other up and recorded the conversation, which I thought was brilliant. But over the last year or so, some of the old characters have come creeping back. Angry JR, Mike Check, the Honky Tonk Mailman, and they announced this week that yes, Wrestle Crap Radio has indeed returned. The crickets have gone home.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to give them a storyline reason for leaving. We're not going to do like WCW used to do. Oh, the Big Show's going over to WWF, so let's have everyone on the roster beat him every week, including 5'4" Rey Mysterio, who's going to beat and cleanly pin in the middle of the ring a 7-foot tall giant.
But on the other hand, we don't want to do like comic books, because if someday in the future Wrestle Crap decides to fold up again and the crickets return, then we have to come up with a convoluted reason as to why they returned.
Well, that's not hard at all.
Yeah, but I don't really want to think. I'd rather sit and just stare at the electric clock and eat Oreo cookies.
That's all you ever do. I'm the one who comes up with the reason. I mean, they're from an alternate future run by a mysterious mastermind who works with the government and has a secret plan.
Oh, that's about the Ant-Man teaming up with Adam Ant. Very good. I can't wait to see that movie.
I think that's pretty much every Marvel comic in the 90s.
Yep. Corey, I do got to admit, I am in big trouble, though.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Should I get the sad music?
No, my mouth has gotten the better of me.
Well, that's pretty much every week.
On eBay, Gatterfly999, formerly known as John, he actually bought a number of things from me, and he's still bidding on a few other ones. And he's emailed me and told me that he other than he likes the show, it'd be better without Cory on it. And I wonder if Jin's free. Anyways,
Our world is about to change. Enter the realm. Blood runs cold. In each of us burns the fury of a warrior. Glacier.
Whoa! Did you hear that?
He's taking me.
Joe, did you hear that?
I didn't. Was it a bird going on a car?
No, it was another Glacier promo.
Ugh. Hang on, let me grab the
Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its. Let me grab the Cheez-Its. Anyways, he actually wants me to get him something. I don't know what to get him. What do I have that's worthy of not only one of our 4 listeners, but a guy who used to shop at my comic shop?
Do you have the hissing cockroaches?
I wonder if he's got a copy of Women's Prison Massacre. Oh well, I got a while to figure it out because he's bidding on the Superior Foes of Spider-Man graphic novels. Because I'm buying the omnibus, I just decided to get rid of the first 2 volumes.
Probably a good idea.
And part of it's Dana's because they're her books, but I told her, "Don't worry, we're gonna get them."
And then you'll hide the omnibus from her because you're smart like that.
Well, I'm gonna at least read it. I mean, she got the advantage of reading them. I didn't get a chance to read them yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, I read the first one, and did I read the second one? Yeah, the first 2 I read, and then when I went down the other ones, I thought, you know what, we're going omni-buy.
Pretty damn awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could not love that book more.
That's the way, I like it, But, I miss when Jen's on the show, but I do like being able to cut out in a song every so often.
That's kind of how we know when she's not here.
Yeah, it's like drawing her out, Cory says he has a cat in his house, have not seen one cat. I believe you do because I get the, cat reaction. Okay.
Well, and there's a litter box in the bathroom, and certainly I'm not using it.
It is time to introduce a new segment of the show, which I hope becomes popular, and we repeat over and over and ad nauseum. Cory Strode, it is time to ask the Strode.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. But we're not going to ask Cory anything specifically, such as...
You've got to warn me about this
What
stuff.
is the air velocity of a coconut-laden swallow? No. Cory,
They can't carry a coconut.
Tell the listeners, and to be fair, you can return the question if you want. Cory, tell the listeners one thing that after 204 episodes, they don't, and however many solo ones, that they don't know about you.
I'm right-handed.
That's pretty good. Rather trivial, but, whatever. It's all good.
Did I win?
We'll call it a draw.
Do I get a prize?
I will give you a used copy of Women's Prison Massacre once John returns it.
If you're gonna give me a women's prison movie, at least make it Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS.
How about Emmanuel Escapes from Hell or Blade Violent?
Those, I haven't even heard of those, and I watch a lot of obscure shit.
Well, that's actually different names for Women's Prison Massacre.
I have 2 copies of Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter.
I've got Jesus Christ Superstar. We should have a double feature.
Mine's better.
I don't know. Some of that
And it's a
music is
musical.
pretty good.
Mine's a musical.
Yeah, mine's a rock musical.
So's this one.
All right.
And it has an extended dance sequence. It's Jesus and his band of lesbians versus atheist vampires.
That's pretty good, but watching Judas get chased down by some tanks, that's pretty good too.
But in the middle of the movie, they invite Jesus' friend to help. You know, Santos, the masked Mexican wrestler Santos.
Well, okay. I feel the tide beginning to switch.
Every movie needs more El Santo in it.
Even if it's just in the corner, you know, just walking past the street.
I agree. Now, Butch and I were talking. And I don't know if you were listening or not, but we were talking about comics, and we both started talking about 90s comics, and I think, no, you were part of it too.
Come out of the cage.
Where we said, you know what, in the 90s there were these comics, and we read them, and we bought them, and we've gone back to try to read them, and they're complete shit.
Well, some are. And we talked a little bit of ones that were good.
So I thought this week we could do a comic-centric episode, and we could talk about an era of different publishers where we feel they were firing on all cylinders, where you were excited when the new books came out, you were excited, you had to know what was in previews, a period where you just couldn't get enough. They were doing really well and you couldn't get enough. And the first example I wanted to bring up for me was Marvel. And it's easy to go, oh yeah, you know, my favorite period of Marvel was from 1965 to 1968. You know, the Ditko's last few years of Spider-Man, Kirby really was firing on all cylinders on Fantastic Four, Thor, but I wasn't around. I wasn't buying comics off the stands for that.
No, if we were given comics, we probably would have ripped the cover off and chewed on them, being that we were both born in 65.
Well, yeah. But for me, I was thinking back over a period of Marvel, and from the end of House of M through Civil War and up through the end of Dark Reign, which I guess was after Secret Invasion. I thought, you know, I was looking through to see my timeline, and after Secret Invasion, because the heroes had screwed up so many times, you know, Norman Osborn took over, and the villains were in charge. And that was, about a good year. But that run, whenever they announced something, it was like, oh yeah, because after House of M, you know, no more mutants. Ooh, the X-Men really got interesting because now characters are losing their powers, and what's going to happen with this? And then they start building up to Civil War. Spider-Man gives out his secret identity, and then we find out that the Skrulls have invaded, but nobody knew about it. That whole period. You also had in the background Annihilation, and the new Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Marvel Cosmic changing. That whole period, I couldn't wait to get the new Marvel books. Couldn't wait to see what they were doing. They were really just firing all cylinders. You had Planet Hulk going on during that time period. It was just, everything was exciting that Marvel was doing. And I've gone back and I've read those, the trades and the hardcovers I have of that period, and they hold up really well. Civil War holds up really well. House of M holds up really well. Secret Invasion kind of got a little iffy, but then Dark Reign, oh man, those were fun because the heroes were all on the ropes. They were all being hunted. It was, you know, they were true underdogs. Joe, what was the period of Marvel that when you think back, you go, that was my favorite period?
See, when we were talking about this last night, I think, it's not so much a period per se. I mean, there's certain runs that I've liked. Like, I really have enjoyed the Secret Wars run. For me, though, it's got to go back to the beginning, when I switched from being just a comic reader to a comic collector. And I would, you know, go weekly up to Twin City Comics. That was Greg Ketter's first store in Minneapolis. Well, actually in St. Paul before he moved over to Minneapolis. Just going in and discovering everything. A lot of it, too, was timing. I hit Spider-Man 180, and it did a total recap of Spider-Man. X-Men did the same thing right after Phoenix Saga. So I had a complete run of, or at least an idea of what happened before in the X-Men. I was able to get back issues. I was able to discover things. I really loved knowing things. You know, like when you saw a house ad coming for Shogun Warriors and Micronauts, and I knew the toys, but I was really excited to see what they do in the book. And then when I discovered ROM #1 at Downtown Shinders, had no idea ROM was even coming out as a comic. And then later on, he encounters this spooky house that Doctor Strange encountered way back when, and I knew that because I'd picked up the paperback books reprinting the original Ditko run of Doctor Strange. It was like this was a whole interconnected world. You know, Punisher appeared here in Spider-Man, then here in Captain America, then back in Spider-Man, then over in Daredevil. And it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of excitement. There was a history. And I talk about even in podcasts past where, eventually I moved over into DC and I started to get into the DC stuff, and I was aware that things went all the way back to 1938 with the first appearance of Superman. I knew of Spider-Man. I knew of Shazam. I knew the Justice Society. They did a good job of embracing their continuity. I mean, this was pre-Crisis, so even every time they visited an Earth in Justice League or a different Earth as I went into back issues, I got the idea, Earth 1, Earth X, Earth S, Earth 2, all this fun stuff. It was just brilliant to discover it. It was almost before I bought Advance Comics, which was the previews of the time from Cap City. And eventually what happened was Pat and I started buying through Advance Comics, so we saw stuff coming. And it wasn't that it was, we discovered it. We just knew it was coming. I mean, we knew Dark Knight was coming. We knew Crisis was coming. And even when Crisis hit, it was still just mind-numbingly cool. Secret Wars was kind of exciting, the original. And I love the current one. It was just, to me, that was kind of the magic part. And then it went on into independents. We had a store where the guy bought the independents. He promoted them. So, we got into Pacific Comics, First Comics, Eclipse. We were on Miracle Man when it hit. We were on Megaton Man. I also went to Dreamhaven where I met Al Payne, and he was always good. Like, Al, what do you got this week that's cool? Here, try this. That's how I discovered Tales of the Bean World, one of my absolute favorite comics. So that beginning period from whenever Amazing Spider-Man 178 to, I would say, toward the end of Crisis, maybe even into the relaunch of Superman with John Byrne. To me, that was just one big period of discovery. And it's something that was fun because I would find things on the shelf. I mean, it was always a habit. We'd stop at St. Paul Comic, and then we'd go to Shinders. When I was in college, I'd stop over at Dreamhaven, even though I knew I had books waiting for me at St. Paul Comic. So even just going to a few shops, I was able to pick up quite a lot. And we embraced the history that there was. I was able to go back and buy cheap back issues. I mean, all those 70 books, with the exception of Hulk 181, I was able to buy for a quarter whenever sales came around or where I had extra cash. So I was able to amass a big collection fairly quick. And a lot of it nowadays you can repeat because it's either in Essentials or Epics or Showcases or online. But, boy, discovering it for the first time, it was just fun. Even getting the monthly or the yearly Overstreet guide, and you'd look at your stuff as it slowly went up. I don't think I'll ever have that was my golden age of comics. We always talk about it with 12 to whenever, and mine lasted through college, so I had a good decade of just solid entertainment that way. You know what I'm saying?
Now, my question is, now that we both talked about our Marvel, what was kind of the thing where you kind of, I'm not saying it fell off a cliff, or where it just wasn't as fun? What is the moment where that happened? Was it one thing, or was it a bunch of stuff? What was it where when you go back in your memory and go, this was great, and then after that point, it kind of wasn't as good?
I don't know if there's been points like that. I mean, even if you look back in the podcast, for those of you who feel like sitting down for 204 plus hours, that'd be what, 408? And listen, there were times where I actually thought of just, you know what, I think I'm just going to drop and stick with what I have. Most of the time it happened when I was away on my travels and didn't have access to a comics shop and couldn't get all excited about things that were coming in. I'm looking over Cory's list, and I don't want to really spoil it too much, but there were certain things that popped up that were exciting. Like when Valiant's run happened, I picked it up about the time Solar 10 hit, which was the all-black cover everybody went crazy for, and right before Unity. So you had to really go back hard to find those early Valiant issues. And the whole run was just fun. Through Unity. But I think the two things that hit that changed the way I look at comics is when I first got a comic book shop. When Pat and I bought Hot Comics, and then renamed it Hot Comics St. Actually, it was first Hot Comics East West, because we were St. Paul East and Dan and Brian were the West shop. And then when 4 stores popped up, we went to the city, St. Paul, so it was Hot Comics St. Paul. Comics changed from, I enjoyed reading them. I had the advantage of being able to read everything, and I could put it back on the shelf if I didn't like it. But they became a commodity. They were something to sell. I know of dealers that, they were real hot because they got all the gold issues, they got all the variants, they got all the hard-to-find stuff, and they kept them in their collection. Me, if I got them, I'd be looking to sell them. And remember, this is before eBay popped up when I started on it, about 1998. eBay started in 97, with Pat and I starting to shop back at the end of 92. So, to me, that whole decade, I look and I see, I used to have this, I used to have this. I mean, even now as I'm just sitting here, there was a, let's see if I can find it here. eBay, they open up their page, they have a Marvel Team Up Annual number 5, telling me it's worth $50. I see. It's graded. That's why 9.8, the highest graded one. That's probably why they're saying it's $50. I remember buying that. I remember having that. It wasn't that great, even though it did have Spider-Man things, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, Quasar. But all these cool books that I had, I just sold. I mean, part of the agreement when Pat and I bought the shop is we each brought X number of books up in addition to the cash and whatever we ended up paying Brian and Dan for it. So I get bemused sometimes and sometimes a little depressed when I go through, a place like Captain Jack's or even some of the comic shops I visited last couple weeks, and I see back issues I had and the mint prices they were asking for them. Whether they're getting them or not, I have no idea. But I do see a turnover, at least when I go into Captain Jack's, because I come in thinking, I think I'll look at that book again. Well, it's gone. Must have sold it. So that's encouraging for them and for the back issue market. The second thing that happened was when Dana was born. And that pretty much cemented the idea that, this stuff is just stuff. Family's more important. I've got other obligations. Again, that fed into the idea that comics are commodity. And I think that's why, even when I did Crazy Comics, that mind switch came again. It was like, okay, I'm no longer collecting comics, I'm selling comics. So if I have the last copy of, let's say, Women's Prison Massacre number 5, and you come in the shop looking for it, I'll sell you my copy because that's what I'm supposed to do. Whether I pick one up later or not isn't really relevant. I'm into selling, and that's probably why I still do the eBay. I always complain when I come back from a con, I buy long boxes of stuff. Some of it I keep, some of it I read, some of it I just turn around and flip on eBay, So that's probably the big thing. I'm not so much a comic collector. I lost that mentality with the two events, like I said, selling comics and when Dana was born. I still love reading comics.
For me, the period that I talked about where I was really geamed on Marvel, in a lot of ways it ended as...
I just sold something on eBay. Hang on. Go ahead. I got to check this out.
Okay. As creators sort of moved to different areas, yeah, Bendis was still on Avengers, and that was still good. But Greg Pak left, Hulk, other creators left, and really kind of after Siege, which was where the Dark Reign ended.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dark Reign ended with Siege, and Siege really didn't feel like a big conclusion. It was more like, oh, okay, there's a Thor story that's kind of okay, and, all right, I guess. And then I still liked Marvel, and I still read Marvel, but it wasn't so much of a, oh, what's next? Until the build-up started for Secret War. And really, Secret Wars, this current event, is, if they pull it off, could be my favorite event in comics because it's just so well done. Now, over at DC, when I was thinking about this, for me, it was Crisis on Infinite Earths, the new DC universe, kind of up till the death of Superman. And the reason was because I was a Marvel guy, and learning that Marvel creators had moved over to DC was what got me to read DC. And I was a huge fan of Wolfman and Perez on Teen Titans. And Crisis was really the first, oh my God, this is huge, and stuff is really going to happen and change event. Secret Wars was kind of the first big event, but at the end of it, nothing really changed. You know, oh, look, Spider-Man has a new costume that's a weird alien thing, and they got it off him in, 6 months. I was looking through the thing that lasted the longest after Secret Wars of all the big changes was the Thing staying on Battleworld. The rest of it was all kind of swept away after 3 to 4 months.
Well, yeah, we knew the conclusion of it before we knew the how it ended, how it got there. It was an interesting way of telling a story, but by the time, you cared what had happened to the Hulk, he was already at Hulk 300 and pretty much brainless.
Yeah. So a lot of the big changes that they pushed were gone, whereas Crisis, they made big changes.
They boffed a lot of them, but they made them.
Well, you didn't know where they were going. It's kind of like Secret Wars where you don't know what the end point is going to be. You know there's going to be books and you're getting publicity about them, but you don't know, is there still going to be a multiverse? Is the Marvel Universe going to be merged with different universes? How's it all going to work? With Crisis, you knew that they were going to end it with one universe because they told you that in interviews, but you didn't know how they were going to get there or what they were going to do with it.
Or what were they going to do with Superman? What were they going to do with Power Girl? What were they going to do with... I mean, there were billions of questions.
Legion.
And they even kind of covered that, too, because, what was her name that came back? Said, there's a lot of things we don't know about. Kind of to get us guys who really love their continuity to just shut up and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
And this was, again, remember, way before the internet. So... the geeking we did was amongst ourselves at cons, at newsletters.
And then after Crisis, it's, we have a new Flash. Wonder Woman is getting a whole complete reboot, ground up. Superman, reboot, ground up. All of these things. And you had Roy Thomas kind of guiding us through it with Secret Origins. But they brought in people who hadn't worked at DC before, or people who hadn't done a lot of stuff before. It really felt very fresh and new, and it led up to the death of Superman. And then after the death of Superman, for me, Death of Superman is kind of what ended it, because then after that it became event comics. It's, now Batman's back is going to get broken. Oh, now Green Lantern's going to become a mass murderer. And, boom, 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 boom. And the comics weren't as fun anymore because you knew it was going to be, here's a year-long story where horrible things happen, rather than, on Superman, they rebuilt the mythos, and then I I really think that period leading up to the death of Superman is some of the best Superman stories ever, because they were building things. They were, okay, we're going to make the Lois Lane, Clark Kent relationship into a real relationship rather than something aimed at 7-year-old boys who still think girls are icky. With Batman, it's okay, we're going to do stuff. We're going to have Jason Todd get killed. We're going to reboot all of the villains and bring them back to their original sort of form. You had them experimenting with the Elseworlds stuff. DC was really exciting, and then kind of after Death of Superman, they lost focus. They were putting out more stuff that wasn't real good. You had the Image influence on the art, so everybody's legs were longer than their body. You know, everybody's calves were longer than their torsos, and everybody was, all the women were just boobs. But boy, that one period, you really felt like, Tim Truman's going to be rebooting Hawkman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Mike Grell is rebooting Green Arrow? Oh, cool. It was just this real exciting time for DC. Was there ever a period for you like that with DC?
I would have to agree with you, probably the post-crisis. Again, kind of discovering everything. And even when they went through different events, I think Zero Hour was the last one, I was always curious to see where they were going with it. It was fun. It was cool to see old characters come back, figure out how they were going to get going. Sometimes the series coming out of those events, well, let's not talk about Millennium, were
although Millennium, it actually, because they had just rebooted the universe, while the story was terrible and the series that came out of it, The New Guardians, was complete dog shit, the revelations they had actually fit. Such as, oh, there's a reason why there was that snowstorm and the Kents couldn't get out for months and months. And when the snowstorm went away, they were able to go, oh, yeah, we had a baby during the storm. And nobody thought twice about it. It was almost like, okay, we're going to use this to kind of patch over some stuff. And you almost wonder how much of it was the people working on the books went to Steve Englehart and said, oh, yeah, put something in there about this. What other companies did I have? Oh, that's right. My computer went down, didn't it?
Yeah. You had Image from Kirkman's Image is the company of the future speech to now.
Yes. When Image started, I remember all the build-up where they said, this is the company where it'll be all about creator-owned work. The creators will own it, they'll control it. And I was real excited. Yes, Rob Liefeld was announcing a team, Youngblood, that, you know, if you knew Rob Liefeld at all, you knew he had been pitching that back when he was still on Doom Patrol. So it's, oh, okay. So he's kind of grabbing the stuff out of his cedar chest of ideas, which I guess are all the Teen Titans, because every team he had was pretty much the Teen Titans and the X-Men mixed together. But it was real exciting because, oh, cool, creator-owned stuff was starting to build, and you had Dave Sim out there saying, own it yourself, publish it yourself, and own it yourself. And more of the indie guys were starting to get on that bandwagon. But now, oh, the big name mainstream creators are doing it. And then the stuff came out, and it was pretty much all X-Men teams. Look back at those Image books the first few years, and it's all, oh, look, here's another version of the X-Men. Oh, look, here's another version of the X-Men. Oh, yeah, it's another version of the X-Men by a former X-Men artist.
There were a few bright spots. Sam Keith's The Max.
Yeah.
And they were even talking about how it wasn't selling the way they wanted an Image book to sell, but Sam Keith was a very smart businessman.
Yes.
All they would say.
Yes. And what? DC republished it, and now IDW has remastered it and republished it. So Sam Keith, really smart guy.
Yeah.
Not bad for a guy who, when the Max came out, it's like, oh yeah, he's the guy who inked Mage, and then he inked some issues of Sandman. I like him. I'll buy this book.
Yeah.
And then when the superhero, the 90s superhero Image art boom collapsed, Image just kind of puttered along.
Until Image United. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
Youngblood, Shooter, Liefeld, 1994. Be there. But Robert Kirkman started The Walking Dead. He actually had Battle Pope and The Walking Dead, and then Battle Pope faded away, and Walking Dead started getting huge. And Marvel hired him, and he worked for Marvel for a few years. And when his contract at Marvel was over, Image brought him in as a partner. And I forget what convention he was, but he gave a speech where he said, look, don't work for Marvel and DC. If you have to become famous, get out as soon as you can. You could come over to Image and own your stuff. Now, this was before Walking Dead was a TV series. This was just when the trade paperbacks were going. And when he did that, a lot of people were like, yeah, whatever. You couldn't hack it at Marvel. Now you're, back to being Zombie Boy, whatever. But slowly you've noticed that creators will kind of start at Image or, self-publishing or self-publishing through Image. They'll go to Marvel and DC, they'll build their name up, and then they come back to do creator-owned stuff because people know who they are now. And in a lot of ways it benefits both Image and Marvel, but Image sort of became where creators would go to do their stuff. Greg Rucka went there. Ed Brubaker went there. Jonathan Hickman's going back there. Boom, boom, boom. To the point where when I get my previews catalog, the first thing I look at is what's Image doing. And then I get really pissed because their layout and the way they sell the books in the previews catalog annoys the hell out of me. So I go online and see, okay, here's where it is. They have it alphabetically rather than by week by week by week.
I figure I just don't order it. If it gets super hot, I'll pick it up as a graphic novel. Whereas before, I was more than willing to buy the first 5-6 issues to see what was up.
For me, because I follow creators, it's, look, Jonathan Hickman's doing another book at Image. I'm getting that. What is it? Brian K. Vaughan doing another book at Image. I guess I'm buying that. And in a lot of ways, Image is right now the hot company in my mind. Their sales are slowly creeping up. And there's some talk online with creators about how, if you're selling above this line, you do really well at Image. If you're selling below this line, you may actually start losing money while working at Image. So they got to work that out, or people are going to go, gosh, I got to eat. Marvel got a She-Hulk book I could do?
Sure.
But Image is really very exciting right now.
Let's see, you wrote down Dark Horse.
Well, Joe, was there a period for Image where you went, this is what I like?
Not really. I mean, I read Spawn through about issue 25.
Oh, you lasted longer than I did.
I tried to read Shadowhawk. I've stuck with Savage Dragon, and I go in and out. There'll be times where I don't read it, although I'm buying it, and then I kind of will pick up. I'll either just jump on board where it's at, or I'll just go back and put all the other ones together. I'll probably always go with Savage Dragon just because it's the epitome of what Image should be. It's Eric Larson's book. It's his book. He's doing what he wants, and as long as he wants, it's his. Whereas the other guys just seem to suck up as many hot X-Men artists as they could, or Todd went off and had more interest in his toys, which I absolutely loved. So yeah, for Image, it didn't really have that moment. I think there's even a point where maybe in one of the earlier podcasts we were like, wow, how the hell is Image even around anymore? And this was before Walking Dead. or maybe during. Yeah, no, it was before. No, after. After Walking Dead was coming, but we were probably just shaking our heads wondering, what are they doing? Walking Dead and, yeah,
More Spawn.
more Spawn. Actually, not a lot of Spawn. There seemed to be more Top Cow than anything. But even they tend to keep in their own universe. At least until Image United. Sorry, just had to bring that up.
Well, there was a period where, after the boom, Image was like almost begging self-publishers and people to come in because they needed to keep 5% of sales in order to remain a premier publisher.
Don't got that problem now.
Nope. They are number 3 and rising, and if DC doesn't get their head out of their ass, they could be number 2 within a couple of years if the numbers hold. Dark Horse. Dark Horse is one of the smaller companies, but I do remember once they got the Star Wars license, and then they used that in order to start Legend. That got me really excited about Dark Horse.
Or what was it? Comics Greatest World?
Yeah, I wanted to like that. I really wanted to like that.
That was about the same time the Malibu did their Ultraverse.
Oh, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody was doing a new
anybody
superhero
unless
universe.
you had it. Yeah. So
Continuity had a shared universe. And Comics Greatest World just kind of fell flat for me.
yeah.
It was, okay, I don't get the point of this. I don't understand why this is something that I should be interested in. None of the characters were all that interesting. The world itself wasn't all that interesting. But the stuff they were doing, like Hellboy and Sin City and the Monkey Man and O'Brien. Oh my God, I loved Monkey Man and O'Brien so much. Art Adams, where hast thou gone? But there was a lot of cool of the Aliens franchise. They were doing really good stuff with the.
Even they had Alien Predator, which everybody was nosebleeding over.
The Predator the Predator miniseries was really good. They were really hitting on all cylinders there for a while. And what kind of made it fade was that Miller quit putting out stuff. Most of the other guys who were doing the Legend stuff, other than Mike Mignola, just kind of faded away. And the Star Wars books really just kind of became less and less interesting because, and I've talked about it before, it became, oh no, we're not going to tell any stories about Luke Skywalker. Here's a Jado Fregastat who is 5,000 years before Episode 1, fighting blah, blah, blah.
Well, to be fair, they had graphics.
And who cares?
They had books in that. They had a whole expanded universe, and the comics tied into the books. They tied into the comics. It was almost the opposite of the way Star Trek did their stuff. Star Trek was like, yeah, we just got to story tell it. And now it's kind of Star Wars has gone back to the beginning now that Disney owns it. If it's not the movie,
look at how well it's selling.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
You put the main characters in that people give a shit about, the books sell.
Yep.
What a shock, Joe.
And we're actually excited about another Star Wars movie that Lucas will never be able to redo. Maybe he's got somewhere in his contract says I get to come back and redo these anytime I want.
I listed a couple other companies. First, I was a big fan of First.
Yeah, that was part of my golden age. First, Eclipse, just a lot of fun stuff coming out of these guys. And occasionally you'll see they'll pop up. I mean, obviously Miracle Man's with Marvel now. But
the IDW tried to restart Grimjack and John Sable and a few of the others, but really they didn't catch on. And with a lot of the stuff at First, I actually, since I wrote this up, I was looking over their history, and once the editor-in-chief, Mike Gold, went over to DC, he went over right around the time of Crisis, and then a lot of the creators that I really liked at first, ended up over at DC working with Mike Gold. And First itself, they still had Nexus and Badger, and they were still good, but the other stuff just kind of faded away and wasn't that good, and then they ran into sales trouble. With Eclipse, the Miracle Man run was great, but then there was a flood in '86 that wiped out all their inventory and wiped out all their film, and in a lot of ways they never really recovered financially from that flood. So books would come out late, and we were going to print this, but we lost the film, and the creator doesn't have the art anymore because he sold it at conventions, so I guess that comic's never coming out. Sorry. And then you already talked about Valiant. Are there any other major companies that we've missed, that we didn't talk about, that you think had a really cool period that we don't know?
I don't think it was a big company, but Caliber had some pretty astonishing stuff that came out. Dead World, some of Bendis's early work. I'm constantly discovering things that they published that I had no clue they even published because they were just there. Nobody even cared,
They did one thing that I adored. And once they announced it, I think they pissed off comic shops. But as a reader, I was just, oh, yeah. And it had to be like 97, 98 when they announced it. They had a subscription service. For $20 a month, they'd charge your credit card $20, and they'd send you every comic they published that month. And if they didn't have like $30 to $40 worth of books in there, they'd throw in something out of the inventory. And when they were doing well, it was great. You get this box of all this cool stuff. But like the last 6 months, you'd get, oh, wow, they're sending me another AKA Jinx trade paperback. That's 4 you've sent me in the last year. Oh, it's another Oz paperback. Well, that's 3 of them. And I actually would just bring them in and put them on the shelf at your shop because I don't need 3 copies.
I was wondering where those came from. I thought they bred overnight.
And the editor, Joe Pruitt, has shown up a few other places, kind of trying to restart Caliber.
Yeah,
he
I'm just
had
looking.
a deal with Image. He had a deal with IDW. But he's an editor who's always finding this amazing new talent. So if he announces, hey, there's this book coming out from these new people that I'm putting together, I'm going to buy it.
Now, of course, it looks like the latest thing they have is Dead World Soda Pop Beverages.
Oh, boy.
Taste
Well,
the
yeah,
flavor.
Caliber still exists, but I don't think they publish comics anymore. I know that Joe, the editor, announced something recently. Let me go to the Strotron 2000.
I'm actually on their web page. And just kind of looking, they're saying that their current schedule is to release several books per month. But I'm wondering if they're made in print and or digitally along all platforms. So apparently they either print to order or you just download what you want through iBooks or Comic X or whatever.
All right. What I show is that the original owner, Gary Reed, has announced he was bringing Caliber Comics back. He announced this last year in a partnership formed with Eagle One Media. The relaunch company will release collections and material originally published by Caliber, in addition to blah, 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 blah. And let's see what Joe Pruitt is up to, because he was one of their writers as well as...
Oh, now see, here's one of those things that make my hearts hurt. I'm looking at Mobius comic number 1 from May 1996. $69.99. I remember having that, and I probably quarterboxed it somewhere along the run. But I'm looking basically
$69.99
from their page. They say you can go online to like Amazon or Barnes and Noble and get the different stuff that's current print or get it down into your Kindle.
Let's see, Jim Pruitt. Boy, I don't see anything from him current. Nope, he's not currently working on anything. He's collected some of his old stuff, but he's not currently working on anything. So it must be just Gary Reed who's still trying to put a company together. I know he was working with he was working with Don McGregor about publishing stuff. He's consulted with a lot of people on their Kickstarters, but if I read a press release from Gary Reed saying, hey, this book's coming out and I put it together, I'm going to buy it. Much like if Mike Gold were to get back into comics, if he said, oh yeah, I'm getting back into comics instead of doing radio, it's like, okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy whatever you edit. Now, one of the segments of the show we haven't done for a few weeks, Joe, but we can because there's a Minnesota connection. Are you ready for American food?
I should be, because the Minnesota State Fair is just right around the corner.
Yeah. I'm not going.
I will probably go. Oh, by the way, there are Mobius stuff around. There are no comics on eBay. I did look on our other fun site we like to play on, the Atomic Avenue. They don't have them, so maybe that is. I mean, none of them are listed as high as Amazon says. So buyer beware. And of course, if anybody does buy the Deadwood Soda Pop, bring Cory and I a bottle of it, because we're going to be somewhere where you'll be able to find us.
Oh, where's that?
Why? As I pause for dramatic effect. Actually, for the website to come up. We'll be at the Midwest Comic Book Association Fall Comic Con, the comic book party, October 10th, 2015, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds Education Building. This is the one-day wonder, 420 minutes of extreme comic book action. Go to www.mcbacomiccons.com. And if you have any concerns, go to mcbaquestions@gmail.com. We're kind of in the quasi period, kind of this where the guys are planning, and really nothing really gets rolling until after the state fair is over. But if you want to be there, mark that day off on your calendar. Door opens 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and I know they'll have that deal. Bring a can of food for the food shelf. Save yourself $1.
And we're going to have a table.
And we'll take food pie for Cory. But bring it unperishable, like for the food shelves.
The pie needs to be perishable.
Yes.
Now, I will eat a pie that won't go bad.
Hostess
I'm talking to you, Hostess,
yep.
and gosh, what are the
there's
knockoff
some knockoffs.
ones?
I don't even want to think about it.
I don't mind the knockoffs.
Ugh.
They sell them at the grocery store here, and you know what? They're not horrible.
Cory died with Hostess in his hand. He scattered cream-filled cupcake across the land.
Not only will we be there,
we will
be there with our recording equipment. We're going to be recording podcasts.
So if you want to be on our here podcast, stop by and say hi.
And remember, someone is challenging me for my title. Someone believes that they are able to become the best dressed man in comics. Haven't heard anything. Haven't heard another ever since the NWO promo. Haven't heard anything. Maybe they chickened out. Maybe they're scared.
Or maybe
they know.
They're home watching Retro Shockorama Cinema presents Women's Prison Massacre. Maybe I'll bring a copy and we'll give it away as a prize. Maybe not. I don't know.
But we were going to talk about American food. Joe, are you one of those people who skips breakfast?
No, I have a Diet Mountain Dew and some pastry product every morning.
I found something better for you.
I doubt that, but go ahead.
Well, Wheaties are good for you, right?
Have you tried Wheaties? They're whole wheats and all the brand. I forget what that is.
You know what else has wheat in it?
Pumpkin pie?
Beer.
Ooh.
Now imagine if you could get the name of Wheaties on your beer. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Wheaties beer.
Yum.
Because, that's got to be good for you, right?
And we'd like to let the makers of not only the Dead World Soda and Wheaties Beer. If you'd like to send us said product for a review on this here show, we are more than up to trying it.
That's right. Beer for breakfast, everybody.
Snap, crackle, and
General
burp.
Mills, makers of Wheaties and other breakfast cereals, is partnering with craft brewer and fellow Minneapolis-based company Fulton Beer to release a limited edition brew called Haifa Wheaties. Yes, it's a German style of beer that's brewed with 50% malted wheat. It's basically breakfast in a
A
can.
beer that makes St. Paul, Minneapolis burp.
We were intrigued from the get-go on this idea for many reasons, including that we're both Minneapolis companies and that the beer and cereal both started at the same place in terms of raw ingredients in the same city. The can is what most strongly evokes the cereal. There are no actual Wheaties in the beer. However,
They took the fun out of it. That's a spoiler warning.
You can pour it on your Wheaties if you're a 20-year-old college student who's just pretty much
Our
given up
assistant
on
scoutmaster used to have Twinkies and beer for breakfast. He'd eat the Twinkie, burn the wrapper, drink the beer, crush the can, pack it out every morning.
Now, the beer will only be available in the Twin Cities market starting August 26th.
Oh.
So by the time this podcast airs, we will have some.
Somewhere.
Oh no, I'm buying this stuff.
All right, I'll try to get some. Maybe we'll drink it. We should probably wait and drink it when Jen gets here, because she can have her vodka. We'll drink the beer, and we'll see how low the show can go.
Hold on. Joe?
Hold on to me? Okay.
It's like there's snow falling inside my house.
Our world is about to change. Enter the realm. Blood runs cold. In each of us burns the fury of a warrior. Glacier.
Our world is about to change?
It is, because I was at Best Buy earlier today. Do you remember in previews they were talking about the graphic novel / DVD sets that were coming out from DC?
Yeah.
They actually had them on the end cap, which I thought was really cool. They are nice-looking packages and fairly reasonably priced for a decent hardcover and a DVD. I'm kind of impressed by the fact that somebody in DC actually thought that up to let's put these two products that are mature together and make a brand new package. I actually kind of got excited. I didn't buy any of them, but I do recall.
You probably have all the graphic novels.
Well, that and that, a lot of the DVDs you can buy cheap, but some of these, I wonder about these hardcovers. Is the first time that this stuff's been in print in hardcovers, or back in print maybe. So, and I know they were offered through previews a while back, so it's not like this is one of those things where, Best Buy gets it and nobody else does. It's just the first time I've seen it. So maybe they are out at other comic shops and places they do. I got to admit, I probably would not have ordered them. I think I was talking with Gruber, and he said he might have ordered one or two, just because he either doesn't have the DVD or doesn't have the graphic novel. But I got to say, for something I was skeptical on, I'm kind of impressed with the finished product.
You know who else has something for sale?
You?
No.
Ooh.
These guys, our sponsors.
Oh, very good, very good.
You may not be able to join the mighty Marvel Marching Society anymore, or even the Friends of Old Marvel, but you can visit our sponsors. Our oldest sponsor is DreamHost.com. DreamHost.com is the best, bar none, web host in the whole known universe. If you need a website, go to DreamHost.com. They will take care of you as they've been taking care of me for over 15 years. If you use the code CRAZY, that's KRAYZ, you get $20 off your first year of hosting. If you are listening to this podcast, you are very good looking. That's right. As a good-looking person, you can't trust your skin to any old razor. That's why you need to shave with the amazing razors you could get delivered from the Dollar Shave Club. Every month they send a box with your shaving supplies. At the beginning of the week, or whenever you want, you pop in a fresh blade and get that fresh blade shave. It feels fantastic, and it's just one of the many, many ways that you can maintain the good looks that everyone has come to expect from you. And if you join us at the Dollar Shave Club, their plans start at just $3 a month. They have a money-back guarantee, and there is no excuse for you to ever use any other razor. So just go to dollarshaveclub.com/crazy, Krayz, to get started. One of the things you need to do this year, you need to get healthy. We all need to be healthy so we can all hang out a lot longer. And one of the ways to get healthy is not to go down to the vending machine and buy those chips or those candy bars or any of the other vending machine snacks. You want healthy snacks picked out by actual chefs who know what they're doing, and you can do that at Graze.com. And if you use the code Cory S3R5P, your first and fifth box are free, so you can try it out. See if that's the kind of stuff you like. That's Cory S3R5P. Our final sponsor is Worldwide News. Worldwide News is the story of the lowest rated cable news network and the people who work there. It is updated twice a week by writer Corey Strode, hey, that's me, and artist Dangerous Dan Moore. Worldwide News at worldwidenews.solitairerose.com, part of the Solitaire Rose family of websites. If you would like to contact us, there are a whole bunch of ways. You can email us at cory.strode@gmail.com. You can give us a call. We have a voice line that is open at all times at 952-856-0519, or you could go to Facebook and join the Crazy Comics and Stuff fan page. If you would like to advertise on Crazy Comics and Stories or on Solitaire Rose Radio, you can. Just send me an email at cory.strode@gmail.com, subject advertising. Thanks.
We've gone long because we've talked comics.
Yeah, shocking that.
But you know what it's time for now?
No.
Freaking and geeking. Joe, what are you freaking about?
One of my favorite strips online is going away. Basic Instructions. And
Should I play the sad music?
No, he's getting away because he's just running out of fresh ideas. He's going to be rehashing the old strips, putting them up with commentary. He says if they're not particularly good strips, he might put up several of them. He figures it would take about 6 years for them to run through again. He's the creator, and if you give me a little blank spot here, let me find his name.
Joe's been tippling with the Wheaties.
I have been. Nope. All I'm getting is that stupid Sharon Stone movie. All right, let me try something different. Oh, I gotta let me do that whole section over again. Now that I have it up. One of my favorite strips online is going away. Basic Instructions from creator Scott Myers and his wife Missy Meyer. Kind of a fun little strip he put together. No real art talent involved. Just kind of going with different quips, like how to sneeze without being noticed, how to get away with things. Anyways, he's decided to call it quits because he's going in make books. And he's going to rerun the stuff on Facebooks. Check Basic Instructions. And I've enjoyed this strip. I bought the couple collections from Dark Horse. And I hope he eventually does it all in a book because I've actually thought it was quite fun. Speaking of Facebook, I'm a little miffed here. We've talked about it before. Facebook has whatever godforsaken algorithm that just changes things. So if you've been seeing our posts, what little we do on our the official Crazy Comics and Stories podcast here page, and you suddenly don't see it, or you're thinking, it's Monday and I haven't been gotten a notice or anything like that, it's because Facebook has taken it upon themselves to just say, well, we're going to take this page away from you because you haven't liked it. That is the key to any page on Facebook. So when you see Cory posting a podcast, go ahead and like it because that'll give us Like we have, I don't know, about 74 people. Actually, no, we got about 158 people on Facebook. And the last announcement Cory put for the last podcast we did only reached 31 people. So if you like it, put it on your Facebook page, spread the word. I mean, I know we're getting more through our other platforms, and we're damn grateful for that. The bitch comes in because I am absolutely loving the new Bloom County that's been launched mostly on Facebook. And I've been getting the feed almost every day. I've been seeing it posted. All of a sudden, for 1 week, it just disappeared. Don't know why. I've liked every single strip. I've reposted every single strip. I think you even mentioned, Cory, you go on Facebook and here's 27 people have posted the same strip over and over and over and over. So I'm a little torqued off at their Facebook. So basically, bottom line, if you like something, like it. Otherwise, it'll just disappear in your feed. And there's always so much other going on, you'll never even notice it. I've got my first non-paying bidder on my eBay listings.
Oh.
And the weird thing about it,
we must kill him.
Well,
I'm sorry. We must shame him.
He should be doubly killed because he not only didn't pay, but he did that best offer thing. So he came to me, and it was a comic book that was priced at $40, and this was for the guys at the MCBA. So it wasn't even like it was my comic. So $40 comic. He said, I'll give you a $17 for it. And I said, okay. That's cool. And then never paid for it. Why the hell do you go through all the trouble of bidding on something, making an offer on something, winning something, and then not paying it? However, versus all the other stuff I've had, it's been one of many. So that was pretty distraught. And eBay's pretty easy to deal with. I mean, you just wait a week. If they haven't paid, say, okay, they haven't paid. eBay sends them a notice. If they don't pay in 4 days, close it. I get my final value fee. I can relist the book, and they get what they call a non-buyer's strike against them. And if you get enough of them, you will get suspended off eBay. So vengeance
and beaten with
shall
sticks.
be mine. No, we like sticks. That's all I'm freaking on. I really ain't got much. Cory, what are you freaking on?
Well, we had to record the show a little later today.
Yes, you slacker.
Because on the way home, one of my headlights burned out. Now, it still works when it's on bright, but when it's on dim, nope, there's no light there. And I don't like driving a padiddle. That's what we were told they were called when I was a kid. A car with one headlight's a padiddle. Very weird. But anyway, so I have...
Illinois weirdness.
I have two headlights because this happened before, but all I had to do was kind of tap on the headlight, and it turned back on.
Where it gets tapped.
But this time, no, it didn't work. So I watch a video on how to do it. And it's, you just pull these two bolts. It's really easy. Now, cars, when I was buying cheap cars, all you had to do is, okay, you unscrew this, you unscrew this, you unscrew this, you unscrew this, you take it off, pull out the headlight, plug in the new one, put it back. But no, with the new cars, it's okay, remove these bolts, remove this housing, move this, do this. The bolts wouldn't come off. So I drive it up to the local We Want Your Wallet car repair place, and I tell them, here's what's going on. Here's the headlights, but, I know you guys need to sell the headlights. No, this will be easy. It'll take 10 minutes, but we're kind of booked right now. Just leave everything here. We'll have it done before we close at 8 o'clock. So I leave it there. I walk home, get some stuff done around the house, and I start walking back up at like 7:30 after telling Joe, I'm going to be late. I got car repair stuff. I'm about a block away. And they call and say, we're not going to be able to do it. Oh, you didn't have time? No. The housing is messed up, and this needs to be, and we don't have the parts, and we're not going to be able to do it. Nothing is easy, Joe.
Nothing is easy.
So I have to order all new headlight, the whole headlight assembly. And then it's going to take them about an hour to take off the old assemblies and put in the new ones. And I was looking online, oh, how much are these? First ones I found, $450.
Sounds like you might want to get yourself that here eBay shop and start selling some things.
Actually, I looked around, and on there are two people on Amazon that are selling the assembly for both sides at around $50. So I've emailed them both and said, hey, here's all the information on my car. I want to make sure that the headlights fit before I order them. And now it's a race. Whoever gets back to me first gets my money.
We'll continue this race next door.
But it's like when my battery went dead and I had to replace it. Where's the battery in your car? Well, you have to take off the front driver's side tire, disassemble the housing. Oh, and the battery's in there. Nothing is easy on cars anymore.
No.
I want to buy a 1952 Army Jeep and drive that son of a bitch.
One of the most unsafe vehicles ever made. Yep.
Let's see. I read this week's Marvel editor-in-chief thing, and it's all about the Inhumans.
Oh, Inhuman.
They've been pushing the Inhumans for years now. It's not going to happen,
Not
okay?
gonna happen.
The Inhumans are not going to happen.
Nope.
No one is going to care. When the movie comes out, then maybe we'll care. But no one cares about the Inhumans, okay? You've tried it and tried it and tried it and tried it. Back in the 70s, they tried it with Gil Kane and George Perez. No one gave a shit. I think they've had like 5 or 6 different tries at an Inhuman series in the last 3 years, and none of them had. You go up to any comic fan in a comic shop, especially the ones who have like the big stack of comics, you go, oh, you buying the Inhumans book? They'll look at you like you're crazy because no one's buying the fucking Inhumans book. And then I keep getting notices that friends of mine on Facebook or Twitter have joined Pinterest. Joe, you ever been to Pinterest?
Long time ago.
Pinterest is a waste of time.
It is.
It's, oh, look, here's a picture on the internet I liked.
If you want to get attached to lonely housewives with nothing else to do but show off their crafts, it's a good place to hang out.
Yeah. So, Pinterest.
For you Howard Wolowitz out there.
I'm sorry, I'm not your target demo.
Nope.
And then the last thing I'm freaking on, Marvel has announced a new series.
Woohoo! That's always fun.
Devil, Dinosaur, and Moon Girl.
Moon Girl.
And the internet fanboys, who still must be in the He-Man Woman Haters Club, lost their minds. Oh my God! They're getting rid of... Oh, and it's a black girl! They're getting rid of all the great characters and replacing them with women and replacing them with minorities. And it's political correctness run amok. And it's terrible and it's awful. Joe, I have some information. Not just for you, but for everyone listening. And if you like, you could cut this part out of the show and send it to your friends. All right? Because I'm only going to say it once.
Only once.
And every so often, people say, gee, Cory, you seem so calm. You seem so nice now. You're one of... I actually had someone tell me that I've known for like a decade that I'm the nicest person he knows. And there's a part of me that goes, wow, you need to meet other people. But I still can get that self-righteous anger and a good rant going. And it's just bubbling up right now. And I'm just going to tell you, I am one of the biggest fans of Devil Dinosaur on this planet. I bought the first issue off the shelf. I bought every issue off the shelf because I am a huge Jack Kirby fan whose birthday was last Thursday, and he damn well had better celebrated it. But I bought, read, devoured, and loved every issue of Devil Dinosaur. I bought the Devil Dinosaur Omnibus. You didn't even know they did a Devil Dinosaur Omnibus, did you? I bought the Devil Dinosaur trade paperback. You know why? Because I like Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy that much. I could not give less of a shit. That Moon Boy is being replaced by Moon Girl.
Boob cell.
No, it's a preteen girl.
Even preteen boob cell.
What the hell is wrong with having some comics that appeal to young girls? They have money too, you know.
And they like dinosaurs.
Everybody likes dinosaurs. Look at Ms. Marvel. Oh, Ms. Marvel. Oh, it's a Muslim girl. And it's one of Marvel's best-selling books in digital, because people who don't go to comic shops are hearing about it, and they got their iPad, and they got their iTunes, and they got their Android, and they got their Comixology, and they go to the store, and they go, oh, cool, I like this book. You can buy it.
Corey.
You know what? Somebody likes a book, they're going to buy it.
Corey.
Sell it to them.
Corey.
Yeah.
Take the blue pill.
Okay.
Sit down. Relax.
All right.
Listen to my voice. Moon Girl.
Our world's about to change.
It is.
Blood runs cold.
Well, if you refrigerate it improperly, yeah.
Joe, what are you geeking on?
I am enjoying the heck out of the fall weather. We were bitching a while back that it was like muggy and hot and soupy, which must have bemused the people living down in Miami greatly, where it is always hot and soupy, and you really can't tell the difference between the ocean and the air because they feel the same. But we finally got a little bit of break, and I've got that fall nostalgia going. I think fall is probably one of my more favorite seasons. It's not going to last. It's going to warm up, so when the fair hits, it'll be warm, which is good because you want a warm fair. It brings people out. Next week, by this time, I'll either be freaking or geeking on my new schedule. Twice a year, we bid on new schedules. I got to show up and see where I'll get. I know no matter where I go, I'm going to have 3 days off because where I'm at now in baggage, they all work 10-hour days. I just have no idea if I'll have a weekend off. I'd like to have a weekend off. We'll wait and see what happens. TV-wise, not really watching a lot. I have been trying to clear off the recorder, and I did pick up a couple episodes of PBS's Nova, which I absolutely enjoy. I just have it record. The science programs like that I really enjoy. I enjoy the nature shows. I like the engineering, mostly the disaster type things. 2 episodes that I watched right away, one about the voyage to Pluto. And there was a lot of talk about how they built it, how they made it, the fact that it's been going on for the last, it took 11 years to get there? That was before we were even podcasting. Did they even think to put our beloved voices on this thing? Nope, they didn't even bother.
Joe, there was a world before we podcasted?
I know, go figure.
I'm confused.
The other one I watched was on the Fukushima nuclear disaster, nuclear plant in Japan that got hit by a tsunami, and just, boy, with a nuclear plant, when things go bad, they just go bad. The one thing that I found interesting about that, they cover everything, how it happened, when it happened, but there was a reactor that was south of the Fukushima Daiichi reactor, got hit by the tsunami, had the same problem. Some of it you had to stop and think, okay, you're next to the sea, you're in a possible earthquake tsunami zone, and you put your generators in the basement of the building that's right along the shore. Okay. Well, the reason why the reactor south, and this didn't get a lot of airplay because, of course, the Daiichi reactor was just crazy disaster. They lucked out because they still had a generator that didn't get damaged by the tsunami. They ran an ungodly amount of cable from the working generator down to the plant to get the water coolant going again. You're talking, I forget what they said, like 100 miles, 150 miles, and you're talking this cable had to come through a disaster zone from Tokyo. It was just crazy luck that they didn't have 2 nuclear disasters on their hands. And anyways, the Nova show covered it. it was just, I just find it fascinating. A lot of it, of course, is after the fact, but you just realize, we're watching the dramatic videos of the guy in the hill and the containment unit blowing up. Ooh, actually, I think it was more the not the containment unit, but the, I don't know, one of the things blew up. But in the meantime, the nuclear material was turning into a sludge going down in the wall. It's just a mess. So I find the Nova shows just fascinating. I got a number of different shows like that on there, and I just figure I better start going through them all because they ain't going to watch themselves. Comic-wise, I only read one thing. I pulled out Family Business, Amazing Spider-Man from Mark Waid, James Robinson, Gabriel Delato, and Werther, I can't pronounce the last name, Delidra. Original graphic novel. Good read. It's a painted style, so it must have taken a while to go. If what happens in this graphic novel remains canon and not just something that happened and we're going to ignore again, it has the potential to make a future Spider-Man story very interesting. No idea if it's out in trade yet. Like I said, I bought the original hardcover, and definitely 2 thumbs up on that one. I think I did that pretty good without even a spoiler warning. As we talked about earlier, we sat down, we got to watch SummerSlam. Despite the weird internet feeds, I think I ended up with more... it was more fun just listening to Cory and Butch go on and on. So that was kind of cool. It's something we've been looking for. It's weird because my internet works fine except when we're doing live streaming or trying to do like the recording of the podcast. So I don't know where to go with that. The only other things...
Your internet provider hates you.
But you know
Or
what,
me.
Cory, things are going to change.
I know.
My blood's running cold. It's snowing. And, of course, Holly's back to school in 2 days. Dana's going to move out, and I'll get to move upstairs so I'm not next to the Cyclotron 3000.
Ah, okay.
So I'm looking forward to that. Cory, what's got you geeking? And keep in mind, the folks here have been listening well over an hour and a half. We don't want to keep them up all night.
Well, first off...
Okay, that's enough. Next week... Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't fair.
First off, I am reading a ton of novels. And the one I'm reading right now is a book called Confederacy of Dunces. And it's one of those books that people who don't read a lot of books have been recommending to me for a long time. Artie Lang on the Howard Stern Show talks about how it's his favorite book. And I'm about halfway through. The lead character is one of the most annoying, repulsive human beings I've ever read about. And I'm reading it at work, and it's so hard not to laugh out loud. It's set in New Orleans, and it starts with this kind of vile human being and his mother going to, the main part of New Orleans. And as they blunder through their day, they start interacting with all these people, and then their lives get messed up by this couple of people, and it just kind of snowballs. And the sad thing is the author, whose name I don't have with me right now, I'm sorry, I'll put it in the show notes, but he committed suicide before the novel was published. He had gotten it done, and all that existed was kind of a smeary carbon paper of it. And his mother took it to a college professor and said, my son is no longer with us, but he wrote this book, and I think it's really good. And the professor in the foreword says, yeah, most of the time you could tell by the first paragraph that the book's not worth reading, and I didn't want to disappoint her. But as I started reading it, at first it was, oh, okay, this isn't bad. And he said by the time he got halfway through, he said this was one of the best novels he'd ever read. And it's a lot of fun, but if you read the reviews, it's either 5-star or 1-star. And the people who give it 1 star really hate the lead character. So if you can handle characters that you wouldn't want to be within 100 yards of, but you still want to read about them, go pick up Confederacy of Dunces. It's really good. I want to get this in really quick. Next week, Jen Wicked moves to Minneapolis. She may even call in while she's driving up. I've known Jen for 16 years. We have her on the show. There was a period where we didn't, we were kind of estranged. I am so excited that she's moving here. She's one of my best friends in the whole world. Her, Dan, and Joe are the people who are closest to me on this planet. And I'm so happy and so excited that I'm going to get to see her and do stuff with her, and she's going to be at the conventions, and it's just, I don't know. I really can't put into words how excited I am that she's coming here, and I'm very, very geeked about it and very happy. But I'm even more geeked about the fact that she's really sort of taken to podcasting, and her art is improving. Wrestling SummerSlam was really good, except for the endings of some of the matches. But I'll tell you one thing, that whole weekend was awesome.
Awesome.
On Friday, you had New Japan and Ring of Honor at the old ECW arena for a show. The next day, you had New Japan and Ring of Honor at a baseball stadium doing a show while NXT was going on. Ladies and gentlemen, you probably noticed that the recording cut off rather abruptly. Matter of fact, it cut off in the middle of a statement I was making. Yeah, we had a technical problem. Jen Wicked called in at that point, and for some reason the recording stopped and none of us knew it. So another 10 minutes, including Jen's geeking, gone. Evaporated. Digital fluff no longer exists. It's depressing, but you know what they say. Well, you know what I say, because I say it every week. The comic we like the least, we still like better than the comic that you like the most.